Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kamen Rider Zero-One. I am Vashi V, and joining me today is...
Decade.
Gokai Platinum.
Pixie Cat.
And Rye. Welcome to...
And Zero.
Sorry. Force of habit.
It's fine.
Way to skip over the guy who started this.
I'm not used
Well,
to
I mean,
having... I'm
yeah.
not used to having this many people. It's been just me and Zero for so long that, like, when it gets to my name, I just get going.
Yeah, it's fine.
Shall we do a take two?
No.
No, it's
We're
fine.
doing
It's
it
fine.
live, it's already too late.
We always do it live. It's always trash. Also, technically, I think like episode 1 was like Decade, me, Chaser, Chaser, yeah, 000, right? And then Slider. But that was like part 1 of episode 0. And that was like, when the heck was that? That was like when the last like presidential election night. That was the first episode we did. That was like way before like most of you guys were freaking here. Anyway, history lesson over.
So, Kamen Rider Zero-One. I have a question for all of you, okay? Can a robot be a chef?
I don't see why the fuck not.
I mean, not to risk getting all philosophical on you, because then we'd be here forever. But bottom line is, if I do believe that if a robot is able to somehow have the equivalence of human sentience, of course it can be a chef.
Probably be the best chef because robot, they can perfectly read the temperatures and everything without having to get a thermometer.
Yeah, I think that's actually already a thing, like a burger making robot. I believe I saw something like that already. But yeah, we'll see the old man's point of view.
Yeah. So here's the problem with that argument. It's like, oh no, can they be like, this is not a philosophical question. Food is just put ingredients, food comes out. I'm like, literally all the fast food chains are like 80% there already, right? So like
True.
if they could figure out a way to get rid of the humans, like we'd pretty much be there, but like we're almost there. So I'm like, this whole nonsense of like, oh well,
It's
You
the
need
difference.
the
I guess it's the difference of making the food or the food service. Like, I think a robot can definitely make the food. In fact, you can make the food in the exact perfect manner. The more you fine tune the machinery, it's just I don't think robots can give service, which I think is part of the quality of going to a restaurant.
Okay, follow-up
I
question.
don't think so.
How do you define a chef?
See, that's a bad question because I'm like, how do you define that in the real world? Right?
I mean, that's the question,
Right. No, it's because I'm like, technically you can't because like, well, you can say only the certified ones who are, because it's a technical title. But I'm like, there's a ton of chefs who don't have the technical title, so I'm like, it doesn't mean anything.
I think a chef is somebody who makes and serves their own recipes. Like, with my sister, Resident Homo from over on Henshin Sunrise, I could constantly call her a chef, and she constantly says, "No, I'm not a chef." And I'm like, "Well, you make recipes, you serve us, you're a chef to me."
That's a fair point. She is making food and serving it to people.
Yeah, and she came up with it, like, all the recipes herself. Like, I wouldn't say that a food service worker who makes food based on instructions is at least doing a chef's work when they do that. I think that when you're a chef, you come up with the food that you make and then you serve it.
Right, but what happens if you're like a classically trained chef in like some like upscale high class restaurant where technically the best service is being true to the old recipes, and therefore you can't make your own. That's still a chef, right?
Yeah, because they've been trained how to do the technique, and the techniques are usually very advanced. It requires special training for the restaurant that you work at.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Decade.
I think we need to call Agito and Kabuto to get their opinions.
Yeah. That's
That is unfair. Kabuto is actually a professional chef. They're both professional chefs, actually.
yeah. Right. Exactly. I mean, I guess we can call some of the bad ones and some of the good ones and see what happens, right?
I hear Ryuki makes some pretty good gyoza.
I was about to say
right.
that, and I was gonna say you could
Goro-chan?
get Zolda's assistant.
Yeah, Goro. Goro is fucking amazing. Oh my god. Actually, fuck it. We'll be here all day because like literally every show has like at least one decent cooking moment. So no, we're not going down this rabbit hole.
However, the best show is Food Wars.
Oh, Shingeki no
Kabuto.
Soma.
No. I mean that's. I don't know. I mean, considering this is like EX Kabuto, why not, right? Oh, Vashi, you were watching like Kabuto, right?
Yeah,
How far
yeah.
are you?
I don't remember.
Right, like
Because I was
Compa-
watching them and like slipping them all into a folder as I watched them, and then I accidentally formatted my hard drive, so I don't remember
Oh,
what episode
okay.
I was on.
That's fine. That's fine. But what I was gonna say is like this is basically like Kabuto with X8 flavor or X8 with Kabuto flavor, whichever way you want to take it. Compared to Kabuto, how are you liking this show? Because it's doing very similar types
Oh,
of shit that Kabuto
Very
pulled.
much. I'm liking this a bit better because I do have a preference to X8 because I actually liked the characters in X8.
Right. That's the thing. This writer
Tendo is such a piece of shit.
Tendo is
Yeah.
a piece of shit, and
Like,
everybody calls him out on it.
Yeah, so he's a big Mary Sue in every way except for one, and the one way he's not is that he's an asshole and everyone hates him.
Right. That being said, like the one good thing that the X8 writer is really good at is like character, or at least like starting character. I mean, actually, to be fair, he's pretty good at setting up character arcs. And so that's what's helping the early episodes of this, because the one thing he's really fucking bad at is comedy, and this show has like way too much comedy. But I'm like, technically, it's for a purpose, so it'll get probably toned down like an X8. Go ahead, Vashi.
Compared to X8, the comedy here is better. It's more balanced than it was at the start of X8. Because at the start of X8, the being like Emu being clumsy for the sake of being clumsy was just fucking annoying, and it got really stupid quick. Whereas this, it's not the fact that he's not funny, because I was reading through the forums on TV Nihon when it comes to Aruto's comedy. A lot of his comedy it's genuinely funny comedy, but you have to like puns, because that is all of his comedy so far has been puns, and two, there's a cultural thing with it too, where the puns don't translate well from like the corned beefy shirt he has. If you didn't know what the actual Japanese words were for certain things, then that doesn't make sense. It's just a stupid shirt. The same things with the jokes he makes. They're genuinely funny, but it's a dumb funny.
Yeah, like
It's
I had only discerned that from the tone. I'm really glad that you have like the notes and stuff. Because I just watch Overtime. I don't got MetsubouJinrai.net. I got ExtinctionThunderstrike.net.
Vashi loves that though.
I love that. It is the
Fuck
dumbest.
that.
It is the dumbest, most awesome, website name ever. Because it's
Oh, nice.
fucking stupid. Like the
I'm kind of thinking. I mean, maybe this is the knock on wood moment for me, but I'm kind of thinking of registering that URL this month.
Oh
Nobody's hearing
god,
from
dude.
me.
like
You hear
the
that, Nebby? Bookmark it before fucking. Before Platinum has a chance. Also,
No!
Nebby's in the chat, so that's awesome.
like
Awesome. Yeah. Hell yeah. Welcome, Nebby.
the the big the reason why I find that hilarious and kind of fitting is the extinction part fits very very well with the fact of that's what they're trying to do more or less because that's kind of what they did to start with, going off the flashbacks. And then the Thunderstrike would be the electronical hacking. That's the Thunderstrike. The
True,
electricity.
and that's directly what Metsubo Jinrai means. Because, like, for instance, they translate Metsubo Rise as extinguize. And Jinrai, like, if you've got any like familiar with like Mortal Kombat, like you'll recognize Jinrai to mean Thunderstrike. That's where I learned it from, for instance. Or like Raichu, he's the Thunder, Pokemon, for instance. Going all the way back to that.
Like it's a very very fitting name, fitting with the whole pun aspect of this show.
Yeah, actually, I heard a theory that I could bring up about it, like maybe towards the end of this episode. I have to dig up the tweet, but it's actually very interesting how the name Metsubo Jinrai actually foreshadows like a ton of stuff that might happen later in the series.
I mean, to be fair, it's written by the guy who wrote X-Aid, and X-Aid, right? Like, it's fucking X-Aid. Remember that shot from the intro? Right? So, like, this is the level of insanity we're dealing with here. So I'm pretty damn sure everything is on the table at this point.
For the foreshadowing thing, the like symbol for Metsubo Jinrai has like 4 kanji on it, and 2 of them are Horobi and Jin, like the 2 villains that we have so far. So those other 2 could be like hinting at something later.
Yeah, right, got it exactly, and also like the other two kanji show like lightning and death, and then look at the Ames logo. You've got a skull with a lightning strike through it. So like maybe Hiden and Metsubo Jinrai and Ames were once the same organization.
I mean, that's again going with the Kabuto shit, like having the villains and the like police or special department kind of be entwined with like really long running backstory would totally make sense. And also, if you haven't watched Kabuto, you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about because this gets revealed like way later on.
Okay, so Aruto visits a small-time sushi restaurant where one of his humor gear is employed to see how it does. He's satisfied with how it makes sushi. However, the owner, a grumpy old man who hurt his back and is looking for someone to take over the restaurant, is not happy with him. He has a bias against robots. Yua, the female member of Ames, actually comes in and speaks in defense of Humagear. This is surprising because I thought that she didn't like Humagear, so seeing her get along and like talk about them their positives was pretty shocking to me.
Yeah, it was shocking to me too, although it kind of makes sense because she works with developing technology that's probably pretty similar. I think the whole thing is just that she accepts Humagears not as an equivalent to people, but accepts how useful they can be, and she sees them only as tools.
that, or she's playing both sides. She wants the human gears there so that whatever is happening is going to continue to happen, which will make aims that much more necessary.
Oh, holy shit! Some like police corruption. That would be crazy.
I mean, it's not the first time we've seen that. Kabuto.
I ain't seen Kabuto.
All right. So, brief synopsis on Kabuto. Right. Kabuto has like a special unit of the police who deal with like the monsters in Kabuto who are called the worms. Uh, so that section of the cops is called Zect, and they're basically exactly like Ames. And their leader is this like shadowy dude, just like whoever the hell is running Ames. And then like later on, it's revealed that like they've got like some really interesting connections with what the hell's going on with the worms and all that. I mean, like it's spoilers, so I'm not gonna say it, but it's actually really interesting. So they're like a lot more closely entwined than most people would think. Because like when they start out, they're straight up just like anti-worms shit all the way until you get to like pretty much like the final arc where you figure out there's like all this other backstory shit going on. And I don't want to say what it is because like that'll pretty much spoil like the best part of the Zect stuff. Because like normally like Zect is kind of just there, but they're not really that effective. Besides like whichever writers happen to work with Zect at the time. Which, as you can see, Ames is following in that footsteps too, which is like we have all these guns and bullets, but they do nothing.
Yeah, I
At
mean, I'm
least-
not too surprised that Zect would be like that, just because, like, at least, not, I mean, probably the particular reasoning would probably still serve as a good twist, but Kamen Rider's always been like, the good guys use the same technology as the bad guys, and that blurs the lines a lot. So it all makes sense in the theming of the franchise to me. Kabuto sounds hella interesting, though.
Yeah. So
It's
the
got
thing
a
is,
lot of good stuff to it.
Yeah, Kabuto's not like a good show overall. Like it's okay. Its biggest problem is it tries to do too much and it just throws everything in, and it just can't balance it all. Uh, as for the whole like, okay, here's the thing: Kabuto's an anniversary series, and like once you start seeing all like the later end shit that's going on, then you're like, oh, now we're like really reaching back. And so here's the thing: Kabuto was written by the guy who wrote, who was running Superhero Tyson. And you know how like Superhero Tyson always had like weird like alternate history type shit going on? Like
Yeah.
Kabuto's an anniversary series, and like later on, it's got some really interesting fucking alternate
Wait,
history
does
shit.
it is it an anniversary series in that it has themes strongly from other shows, or does it have straight up crossovers?
There's no crossovers because this is before the worlds were merged, like decade style. But it's got like actors from a lot of like early Heisei shows.
Huh.
And then what happens is like you figure out some shit where it's like, yeah, all the previous shows kind of happen? Question mark.
Damn, what the fuck? I had no one has told me this until now. I'm hella intrigued actually.
Yeah, this is like the very well, maybe not the last arc, but like the second last arc. All this shit comes up.
Well, goddamn, if that ain't the realest shit.
And then there's time travel. For no reason.
So, Kabuto's movie is very interesting that you can watch it as a prequel, and it still makes sense.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, I
The
heard
thing
about that.
Yeah. So the time travel shit comes into play a little bit through the middle, and then it kind of adds to the alternate history, but mostly it's also there just because the movie helps with the time travel shit. I mean, to be fair, it's just Godspeed Love, so who cares? But Basically, what happens is like the ending of Godspeed Love creates Kabuto the show.
Well, I'll have to check that out.
Alright, so back to Zio. Metsubo Jinrai, in fact...
0-1.
What did I say?
Zio.
Fuck.
I know, I'm like, somebody's gonna fuck this up.
It's gonna be me, every time.
Dude, when the villain's like, oh, I'm gonna be the ruler of the new era, I'm like, what the fuck? We just did Schwartz. I don't need another one of these.
See, I'm just glad it wasn't me because it's usually me fucking it up in the intro.
Like, they both start with Z. What do you want from me?
We just need another crossover with Z-Cross and Xeranos.
And Zeto.
And Zeto. Oh my god, Zeto's never coming back. But dude, Zeto has time travel in it.
Alright, so Metsubo Jinrai infects a different human gear that is also like a chef, I guess, into a squid monster. So Ames shows up at the scene, and Fuwa breaks open his progress key again, but this time he does it with one hand like he's cracking an egg.
He's getting better at that.
So what had happened was the next one that got infected was a barber in a shop
Oh,
that's
he was a
local to
barber.
the sushi restaurant. Yeah. So it's kind of representative as what they're trying to currently do with getting the sushi restaurant to make the contract with them to have a human gear be the successor. They're showing that here's what can happen if you have one that's too close to humans. And being that kind of supportive role because you trust your chef, you trust your barber. They're showing that, hey, this is how easy we can corrupt that.
And it was a barber that got corrupted, not a chef.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was.
Honestly, we were going off on like, oh, can a robot be a chef? I'm like, yeah, it's easy. And then you get to the barber guy. I'm like, all right, that's questionable. If I'd let like a robot barber, like, mess with your hair,
You wouldn't let you wouldn't trust a
No,
lifeless
it's not the
machine to
trust.
cut your hair.
It's not the like trust part. It's like that's more complicated because like human beings move, and hair gets cut pretty fucking easily. So I'm like, when a robot's making your food, they just have to cut the ingredients and serve it to you, so it's easy. But like a barber, it's like a lot more complicated because like you have to fucking basically like operate on a real person, and people are fucking finicky as shit. So that seems more of like a more advanced robot thing. Anyway,
I
so
still
what I'm
think it's
saying
totally
is,
possible with AI learning.
well, yeah, it's possible, but I'm just saying barbers have less to worry about being replaced right now than, I guess, chefs.
Word up.
So, during the fight, Aruto gets tied up by like a bunch of squid tentacles, and he's having trouble fighting. The squid monster eventually escapes with like an ink cloud, and while Fuwa is distracted, Aruto goes to make his escape so they don't get into a fight, and then Fuwa notices what's happening and tries shooting at him, and he shoots the tentacles off of him, and Naruto thanks him as he runs away.
Great fucking job.
Decent humor. Because you don't even see it. He just says off screen, "Thanks for freeing me." But I'm kind of... One thing that kind of doesn't really make sense to me is why Fuwa is so hostile. I mean, there really isn't a big reason other than he
So,
kind of looks like a monster.
Fuwa probably thinks that Zero-One is a Humagear, and he hates all Humagear. or at the very least, he believes that Zero-One is working for Hidden Intelligence, and he really hates Hidden Intelligence because they manufacture Humagear, and he really hates Humagear.
He also looks like one of the fully transformed Humagears. Like, there's barely any difference between the way Zero-One and, like, a Metsubo Rise Humagear looks.
Well, also, it goes back to the first episode where they show the setup for the two different characters. Fua was attacked by the Humagears. They killed his classmates. He barely escaped alive before the whole explosion happened, which destroyed the whole town. Whereas Urartu was on the outskirts of it and was protected by human gear. So he didn't see the whole thing that was going down inside the city where all the human gears were attacking and killing everybody. So Fua is very angry about that, and he believes that he didn't covered up the whole thing. Nobody knows that human gears were responsible for this explosion. He thinks Hidden Intelligence is hiding everything about that, and that they are actually manufacturing human gear as killing machines.
Well, I mean, he's partially not wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty justifiable. Like, the only thing is that Aruto doesn't understand all of that because he only became CEO a few days ago.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good point. But the thing is also, he's a cop. Like, I doubt he went like, yes, let's research the background. I mean, that's the smart
Right.
move, but
That-
like,
That's
he's
what
also
I was
a
gonna
cop.
say. Like,
Um,
as far like, hey, this guy inherited the company. Like, if he's this president of the company, he must know what's going on inside his own company, right?
I mean, a good president should know what's going on in their own company.
And
Aruto is still pretty foppish at this moment. And I mean, I don't think that I don't think Hiden ever designed the Humagear to be killing machines. I think there was probably like a sabotage in the middle, and then Hiden kind of covered it up. I know that Hiden, in whatever case, covered it up and probably did see it as an accident, but covered it up anyways.
so that is
Yeah, I
the
mean-
point, is that Fua doesn't realize that Aruto is just an idiot. He would assume that as the president of the company, Aruto would be capable of being the president and know what's going on.
Right. That's kind of.
It's under the assumption that, well, yes, he just became president. Obviously, he's president now for a reason, so he should have some intelligence of past dealings. Because in most places like this, where it would have went like it started to, where the vice president became the president. It's usually a chain of things. So usually, whoever ends up president is pretty well versed in what's going on with the company. Otherwise, you risk turning the company over into a giant hellhole.
Right. I mean, that's a very good point. So this is like another thing that like Nebi was talking about is like, oh, you can't apply like real world logic because I'm talking about the whole barber thing. I'm just saying he's more advanced. But he also has an interesting point. It's like, recall the last time a guy in corned beef shirt became the president in real life. Like, okay, that's a good point. He's just saying like, yeah, this is weird logic because like normally this wouldn't happen. But it's also weird because it's like, okay, the point is it's very well done character arc wise because like both of them have misconceptions and both of them don't, like, in the present they don't know exactly what the hell's going on. They don't know exactly what's going on with each other. And then in the past they were at the same event but they had two very different perspectives which turned them into two very different people. And it's clearly both of them didn't see what the fuck caused that. Therefore,
Yeah.
they just came to two different conclusions.
And the weird thing
which
with
means
sorry,
neither
go
of the no, it's fine. Which means neither of the conclusions is right.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, like, you're right, Nebi. It is totally weird for somebody like Aruto to become the president of a corporation. And it's like, I think that it's so weird that Fua actually treats the situation as though it was realistic, as in it would be reasonable to expect the president of a corporation to know what's going on in their own company. But but Fua doesn't realize he's in a TV show where they made some idiot the president.
I mean, considering we had like mini Ren last year, we're having like mini Shotaro this year, so he's not the brightest. I can get away with it. Also, he's doing the whole Terui thing of like my henshin device is hard to use, so I guess we're making double references too.
I love how you can just brute force, like literally brute force Ames technology into working. All you have to be is really, really angry.
You're not supposed to be able to do that. Fu is like a monster.
Okay,
mean,
sure, I'm sure he fucking. I'm sure Fua fucking lifts, but still.
To be fair, that's how like most tech in the real world works. It's like this thing is supposed to be secure, but I'm like it's supposed to be used, so
Okay.
it's not like immune to tampering. Therefore,
Exactly.
Also,
therefore, like
But
like the henshin device itself was locked inside what I would have assumed would have been a bulletproof case, but Fu just fucking, in case of emergency, break glasses it.
also, that could have been a setup, just see if they could push Fula to that point. Because remember when that happened, the girl communicated to somebody in Ames that he did it. So
Right?
they're obviously
Like, that was
wanting
crazy.
this to happen. They're doing something that Fua has no idea what's going on, and the girl is in on this. So even Ames has got something shady going on.
God damn, you're right.
yeah, I mean, I feel like they're just doing the very Kabuto thing of like she's just communicating with whoever the hell she talked to at the end. But like, yeah, clearly they're pushing this guy because they think they can control him later on, which is interesting because like everything in the show is like different people and different levels of control going on.
Yeah, you definitely have hidden intelligence where there's more going on there than what's being told, and Arutu's just a complete idiot in the dark about it. And then you got Fua, who's in Ames, and even he's in the dark about what Ames is doing because so far it appears that even in Ames, only the girl and whoever's in charge knows fully what's going on. Because in this episode, you find out she has one too, and Fua had no idea that it's more than one.
I mean, that's kind of weird because like didn't we say that it looked like there was a second case? But whatever. I mean, it's nice parallel because of course he's the secondary writer. I mean, for fuck's sakes, they're both getting like new forms next episode.
Gotta sell
So, yeah,
toys
of
before winter.
Yeah. Oh god, it's true.
I can't
Christmas
wait
is
to
coming
find out
up.
who dies on Christmas.
Oh.
I bet 3 pens on
Replacing
Izu.
bets? Oh no, you fucking piece of shit.
You don't kill Zero's new waifu.
She's a robot.
No.
I don't think.
Oh.
Hey,
Okay, see, I thought you were
Robot?
talking about the female writer.
Oh
Okay.
no, not Yua. Izu. Aruto's assistant Humagear.
It's fine. We'll just get Izu the third. I don't know. Throw
The
Evangelion in there too. Why not? Yeah.
just be careful, Rye. We are on the internet where 90% of the people believe you can date a robot.
You can date a robot. It's
Well,
What do
You-
you mean
I
you
mean,
can't date a
You
robot?
technically can date a robot. It's not advisable
yeah,
or
exactly. I'm like,
mentally healthy.
What do you mean
You can marry
Mario
a doll,
Hara isn't
so-
real?
sorry, what?
I heard, what do you mean my hologram isn't real?
No.
I mean-
What do you mean Mario Hara isn't real?
Okay. Okay, Japan. So like virtual YouTubers, right? It's fine. Whatever. Me and Platinum are probably like the only people who know what the fuck I'm on about at this point.
What do you mean Kizuna Ai isn't real?
Dude, okay, there's like fucking her and like 2 other VAs, but they won't okay, I'm not getting into this drama right now. Like all of fucking like the game. What is it called? Gaming club got replaced. Like all four of them. It's like a huge shitstorm. Whatever.
Holy
We're not.
shit.
Yeah, like Okay, okay, no, sidetrack.
Okay. So,
Um, okay, Nevi says if you can marry Miku, you can date a robot.
can you marry Miku?
I don't know, but I remember something about like a fucking Nintendo DS and a marriage thing a couple years ago. So I don't know.
I
Maybe you can.
I don't know
Um,
what this is about.
I remember something about a virtual character and some guy in Japan. This was a
Oh,
thing.
the two that I am aware of is I know somebody married a cardboard cutout of an anime character, and
Yeah, I know about that.
somebody married their body pillow.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, at this point, I love how Japan's like, fuck it, do whatever you want. That's like the
I think
best
the person
approach.
that married their body pillow did it in the US, if I recall correctly. This was super recent.
Oh no, the one
But
I saw was a
Japan-
long time ago.
Oh, never mind.
Well,
Yeah, there was a
Japan
really
does
recent
have the technology. They have made a holographic anime style girl that will take the place of a girlfriend since you lack one. I've seen the commercial for it, and it's just
Oh, you're talking about the.
sends you text messages. She tells you.
Oh,
to
you're
quit
talking about
work
the
and come
coffee
home.
machine, right? Yeah, this one I've seen.
Need a fake
That was
girlfriend to
really-
get your mom off your back?
That's not okay. No, that's a fucking Enterprise commercial. Yes. But it's a fake boyfriend.
Well, no, this
Anybody
was
know what the
actually for it. It's a little holographic thing you can have.
No, I
and,
know
like,
what
she
you're talking
connects
about.
through.
Right. Oh wait, there's a hologram. I know there's like an appliance one that did that, and there's actually a really interesting philosophy behind that one. Is because Japan is so work crazy and like isolationist for people that it's like to keep like depression down. It's like they're trying to create an avatar so at least you have something to look forward to. So that's why she's kind of acting like a doting girlfriend, whatever. It's like very interesting philosophy of why they created that character or persona or whatever. And then capitalism happened, but whatever. That
Ain't
was
that
a
always
really
how it
interesting.
winds up? And then capitalism
God.
happened?
Well, I mean, yeah, but well, let's not go into the deep end right now. Nice.
Commodification of women, heyo!
Oh, this coming from you. What the hell did you comment?
Look, I'm fine as long as they don't commodify non-binary people. I won't be replaced as soon.
Fuck. Can they even replace? Okay, you know
It
what?
starts with them commodifying like a quote unquote trap characters like Astolfo, and then they come for people like me next.
It's fine. Okay, no, NB jokes. I'm not gonna get into this right now.
Okay. Let's move on with the episode a bit. So Izu analyzes the data from the fight where Aruto. This is the first time Aruto's actually had trouble fighting, and she develops a new progress key to match the situation. A shark form, actually. In aquatic form.
Something shark.
Yeah, in aquatic form to match the aquatic monster. Meanwhile, Aruto wants information about the restaurant. And then we get a conversation about whether or not a Humagear can develop a heart. Because the chef, like, the old guy said, hey, robots don't have a heart. And so this Humagear, he wants to be a sushi chef, so he wants to know, like, can I get a heart to impress him? But a heart cannot be digitalized.
I mean, that's such a big philosophical topic, right? And I know that this show is going to air on the idea that gets people more excited for the future because, it's science fiction, it's speculative fiction. We're probably going to err on the side that they can at least have something equivalent to a soul. I mean, not to mention, I'm halfway expecting Aruto to be some type of cyborg, anyways, since his name sounds like they're trying to say hidden artificial intelligence. Hidden artificial intelligence. I mean, sorry for my butchered pronunciation there, but it would be something like that. Like their word for artificial intelligence starts with Aruto, so Um, I think that I do think that the idea of machines and computers having souls is a very appealing idea, though.
Yeah, I mean, that does seem. I mean, considering it's Kamen Rider, they're probably gonna make him a cyborg or something. It's pretty standard. Actually, somebody I was watching with is like, okay, they're pretty much like, so is the main character just gonna turn out to be Astro Boy? I'm like, you know what? I fucking didn't think of that. But at this point, why not, right?
Yo, I kind of hope so.
Dude, that'd be so cool. I mean, considering he has a robot dad, why not? Um, Also, for the whole
Still
thing of
hasn't
like,
been
can
explained
heartbeat?
yet.
Yeah, they haven't explained that. Also, as for can a heart be digitized, I'm like, depends on which type of heart wheel you have.
Right, because we've already digitized, the beating heart. Although it's weird,
No,
right?
no,
Maybe this is kind of
no,
bullshit pseudoscience, but or no, you mean heart as in like emotions, or heart as in like soul, don't you?
no. I mean, heart is in the damn character from Drive. That's why I said the heart wheel.
Oh, yeah, you could. He's just out there on the Roid Mute network. You could just download him.
Well, I mean, aren't
I mean,
like
that's
heart
what
and
Go's
brain?
trying to do.
Yeah,
Was
exactly.
he
Yes, that's what he's trying to do.
in the movie?
Yes. Well,
Okay,
at
I
the
see.
end, at the end of the last special, he's trying to he's trying to download them all.
Why?
Huh?
Because they're his
Because they're-
friends.
Because you can't download one without the others.
I mean, to be
Besides,
fair, like
Heart's
most
cool,
of them
you
aren't
know.
evil.
J- You gotta watch the special.
Okay.
Watching the specials makes every bit of that make sense.
When
Alright.
are we getting the Medic miniseries? Come on.
Dude, like, what the fuck? Why is Medic getting nothing? It's so annoying. Then
Hey,
again,
Rain
like,
got something like 2 or 3 years later. There's time.
dude, they turned an April Fool's into a special. A V Cinema, actually.
They gotta do Medic to complete the set.
Right,
mean,
but
technically-
Koei hates women.
Well,
hate
hey,
Medic.
Valkyrie is turning out to be okay. So
Hey, Valkyrie gets the award
far.
for lasting more than 2 minutes. So she's doing better than at least 3 different female writers at this point.
And I mean, Poppy was all right until the end.
Yeah. Fuck it. You know what? What we need is Waz to announce Valkyrie. Because I'm like, fucking Tsukiyomi deserved nothing.
Yeah, that was Tsukiyomi was pretty disappointing, but that's a fucking can of worms right there.
Okay, so Haruto heads back to the old guy with the human gear. He did, after doing his background research, he finds that like, hey, all of his past disciples have like quit on him because they couldn't handle his secret technique for making sushi, which at some point involves tossing it into the air for no reason. Humagear, though, doesn't really have any qualms with following instructions, so he's able to replicate the technique easily. And this one actually admits that, like, he understands why he does it and why, like, it's worth doing.
Yeah, I think the reason why behind doing it actually does make a lot of sense. People want to like you can't uh commodify integrity, and the fact that this machine was actually willing to go through it 10,000 times or whatever shows that he actually is willing to demonstrate integrity. And I thought it was interesting how he calls the Humagear chef stubborn, and for saying that he would do it, because he previously had a problem with his other people being too stubborn to do the work. Now we have somebody who to like to do the extra work to learn the technique. Now we have somebody who is stubborn enough to do the technique, and he sees a certain human quality in him, in the Humagear in that way. And I thought that that actually made a lot of sense.
Yeah, so that's really nice and sweet. But two things. One, that old man's stubborn as all hell, as sushi chefs in Japan are, because it takes like 7 years to become a master from being like an apprentice or something insane like that.
Okay, but all those other disciples quit on him.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I firmly believe that is because they thought his technique was just fucking stupid.
Probably.
Yep.
Like, the one that we see Arto talking to, it's like, yeah, I have no idea why he does this. Like, look at this, and shows him the video he recorded of it.
Yeah, pretty much, right? And then the other, like, kind of disturbing thing that we just, like, gloss over, it's like Japan has this really fucking annoying habit of, like, hey, new tech good. I'm like, that's cool. But then they, like, violate people's, like, privacy, and it's like, whatever. Like, this happens in, like, Ghost in the Shell, the fucking anime, a lot. But in this, they're like, oh yeah, the robot's just looking through your phone to figure out your taste to make the perfect thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, streamline, but I'm like, fucking violation of privacy much.
I hope that they do go into that, since they are going into why modern technology is dangerous. Like, and it's kind of more of like a middle ground thing. It's like, yes, we need to advance technology, but yes, we also need to make it so that it doesn't violate people's rights and make them go extinct in this case.
See, that's a very good point. Here's the counter argument. This isn't Japan. The games companies are basically the fucking Yakuza, in which case they basically formed a law to pretty much make it illegal to do anything they don't want. And that's just one sector, right?
Yeah, but like little kids and stuff don't know that.
Yeah, I know, but like loot boxes central. Like, I mean, their games are just gotcha central, like monitoring all the time. Like, I get what you're saying is like, yeah, they should stand up and say like, hey, there's limits, and like people should have their privacy. But I'm like, this is Japan. This
I mean,
establishment.
they can still make
They're
it as
not
a
going to
message
do
in
it.
a show that's meant to entertain
No, no.
people and make them feel hopeful. Like,
I
they can still
know.
probably do that.
Yeah, I'm just saying this is Toei and Bandai we're talking about. Do you think they will push that message?
I think that they will, in order to obfuscate the fact that they actually don't adhere to the message.
See,
Like, they'll say,
I don't
oh
think
yeah,
they will.
See,
I don't think they will, because the whole bullshit of oh yeah, Japanese birth rates are low, and then they freaking put a goddamn baby as the damn gimmick of a fucking Pretty Cure show. So I'm like, at this point, like like Toei and Bandai do whatever the fuck the establishment wants. So I'm like, they will not push this message.
I think that they kind of commodify morality, and they don't adhere to the morality that they commodify, but they want you to be like, yeah, support your heroes, support this message, but that's all just a money-making tactic, and it's predatory.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like it depends on where Arto's stance goes, because like if he ever needs to like just break in and like hijack something, and so it just like there's no
I'm sorry,
guyish
break
fox.
into where?
Like, I don't know, whatever. Like, just hijack anything. Like, if he ever needs to just hack something, right? And then you, because the problem is you don't have like a fucking character like I said Gaius Fox, but like Lucius Fox, so like Batman, where it's like, all right, you do it, and then like somebody calls your ass out on it. Like, who's gonna call him out? Right? Like that is the time you can have this, because the thing is like he's got good morals of like, hey, the robots are not just fucking tools. I'm like, that's cool. Treat people decently, right? But then I'm like, if it ever comes to being like, hey, my tech is good, therefore I should be allowed to do whatever to save people's lives, even if I have to violate their privacy because it's convenient, like, who's gonna call them out?
Then you got the whole fucking Dirty Harry problem where yeah, it's okay if we violate people's rights because we're only doing it to catch the really bad people. Never mind that doing this completely fucks up the rules of the system to the point where nobody's obligated to follow the rules, and then that incentivizes bad people in the same system to exploit it and do worse in that system than the Dirty Harry type people we have, like, pretty much any Kamen Rider protagonist who do intend to do good. The same disregard for rights allows people who work for the same companies, work for the same organizations as the Kamen Riders that are good, to go ahead and exploit that for massive evil. And the funny thing is, they constantly do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was watching Zodiac, the movie, and like one of the most interesting moments is like, um, basically like two of the three leads basically just go to watch Dirty Harry the movie, and then they like, for reasons, they kind of just walk out, and then they have like a little chat, and like one of the cop characters is like, what? Oh, right, like one of the reporters is like, oh right, the bad guy gets shot, and that's how the movie ends, right? And the cops like, so what? No due process, no like, jury, just execution. Like, how the fuck is that law? Like, so yeah, it was nice somebody calling it out. I know it's a whole different movie, but that's nice.
Yeah, no, that makes
that being
hella sense.
that being said, again, I don't see anybody calling his ass out on it because, like, right, you have female Kamen Rider, she's shady. Freaking cop Kamen Rider, he's an idiot. Main hero, he is the establishment. Like, who the fuck is gonna call these idiots out?
Well, I mean, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be. I think that Aruto is still probably going to do the whole Dirty Harry thing because every Kamen Rider does. But I do think that there will be a moment of hubris just later on when the show has the opportunity to build up dramatic tension.
Yeah, you know what the weirdest thing is? Like, one of the like smart things in this show is like the vice president isn't an idiot, because he's not just evil for the sake of evil or just getting in the way, because he's like, all right, let's see what the president does. Like, if he succeeds, that's good for a company. If he fails, we'll call him out on it, right? That was
I expect him to be more of like a one-sided bumbler, but he actually is a lot more like calculated than that.
right. I was just hoping he'd be a little more like either Hojo or Tachibana from Amazon's, where, like, really fucking super sharp, but like, okay, he thinks he's super smart and he can make some good plays, but like he has no idea, like, how insane everybody else is around him, so his plans kind of run into crazy. And it's like, you can be as cutthroat as you want, but if you just run into straight up crazy, it's like the rules of the game change when that happens. Like, I wish we had that kind of character. Anyway,
Yeah,
like,
that would be interesting because that somebody to actually break the establishment, because this series is very establishment heavy.
Yeah, I mean, like we said last time, it would have been really interesting to see like Murakami in the show. Um, but then again, like Murakami from Fives. Um, me and Platinum have been talking for like forever. You guys
Yeah,
have any
sorry
thoughts
about
on
that.
any of this?
So at one point you're talking about what you would what we find out you did at the end of the episode. So I suppose I'll talk about that now, where she used her phone to basically like implant something in the human gear so that she was receiving data from what he was seeing. So when Aruto was given the new progress key, she has video footage of that and knows that hidden intelligence can make new progress keys, which she reports to her boss, who we do not see the face of. Uh, my question is, how legal is that?
Well, let's see here. Ames is like a military police, so I would say that's actually it's not. I don't. I would say it's probably not moral, but it's a legal and b pretty badass. I mean,
Uh,
honestly, I can't say I would do much differently, given the opportunity if I found it necessary.
See, the problem with that is because that's just wiretapping, right? But again, Japan, so I don't know what the laws are for that. I mean, technically, like cops are allowed to wiretap, or at least like the FBI and shit. There are
Yeah,
laws on
like
the
they're
books for that
like
shit.
we're talking about like secret like government police, like fucking pretty much like anybody higher than just the regular civilian police already wiretaps all the time in at least in the
Yeah,
United States.
and secondly, it's
Facebook like listens into you constantly too.
Yeah, like I could be talking about something private I've never said in DMs and I've fucking never posted about, and then I'll see groups and ads for that topic just because I said it near my phone.
dude, that's super annoying. Yo, the best. Did you see that fucking video of like Zuckerberg at the inquiry? And like the person who's like asking him is like, "All right, so Mr. Zuckerberg, how willing to which hotel did you stay at last night?" It's like, "Are you going to reveal that?" It's like, "No." It's like, "All right, who did you talk to in the last month? You know, friends, family?" And like Zuckerberg's like, "I'm not going to reveal that information." I'm like,
Is
"Holy
it,
shit, man. Talk about
huh?
putting him on the spot."
Funny that you
It
don't
was
want to
so
give away that information.
right. I know. I'm like, "Oh, fuck, that was so good."
But I
Um
think that's the other thing this Common Rider's trying to play off of is the current events where people have pointed out this issue with the technologies.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of edging on this anyways with Siri and Google and what is it, Alexa. We agree to have them spy on us and listen in with every update where we click agree to. It's in the fine print, and they claim it's for our good and to make our lives easier, which is the same saying they're using in this Common Rider for the human gears, that it makes our lives easier.
Yeah, I'm just the whole worry that I think Zero and I have is that it's just going to take a very light-handed approach to the whole topic.
I mean, the biggest problem is it's already kind of taking a light-handed because the thing is like human gear exists and I'm like, all right, this is some weird idealized Kamen Rider world and not really because we're having a Kamen Rider show here, but um for the most part, like the biggest problem is like if they're like basically everywhere, like more than fucking iRobot, like how does anybody have jobs? Right? Like, are people just living on like UBI or something? Like, what is going? I mean, the show will never discuss this because, like, of course, they're not going to talk about the fucking economy in a kids show. But it's so weird. Because isn't this
The,
literally like some of the talking points of presidential like
the first
nominee
thing we
debate?
saw happen in this show was Aruto got fired from his job because a robot could do it better.
Oh god, that's such a good point. Holy shit.
Yeah, I actually think that robots are at the point where they are beginning to take over most jobs. At every episode, we see somebody who is resisting that in some way.
They took our jobs.
Yeah. See, this is a
Transformers
really
animated, like, this is why I hate machines.
Oh, it's so good. The funniest thing, though, I mean, not funny. The interesting point is like this is a Japanese show, so from a Japanese point of view, it's very different because Japanese population is dropping very rapidly. Well, not very rapidly, but it is dropping. So they actually do have to automate a lot of shit going forward just to keep their society functioning.
That's a good point.
So they're always going to have a different take because the level of automation that they require is because they require to keep their damn country functional. Like, there's a whole reason they're investing so much in goddamn agriculture is because they have to have somebody produce the food, but there's no like farmers left pretty much. So you have like farming colleges. I mean, goddamn, there's a fucking anime on this for a reason.
That's a good ass point.
So the Magir, I remember that they're called, goes to infect other Humagear into like generic grunts, and its special ability is that it can extend very far. So it just starts hitting them all over the city, including our chef Humagear, who finally impressed the owner. Yua, seeing this, tells Aruto that, like, hey, that Humagear is a lost cause now, just back up the file and make a new one. But the chef actually encourages Aruto, saying, you know what, no, they're more than just machines, they're more than just tools. Like, he's thrown away his bias against robots. And we get to see Yua henshin into Kamen Rider Valkyrie. Try to outrun this demon to get left in the dust.
Try to outrun this demon to get left in the dust.
We also see Aruto use his new biting shark.
Yeah,
Fangs
honestly,
that can chop
biting
through
shark.
concrete.
Yeah, wasn't like biting shark the one that was like really badly like in the scans? Wasn't that one of the ones that was like really badly done? So like you couldn't even tell, but it's the first one.
No,
That's interesting.
it's the one that we all looked at and went, isn't that an O's form?
I thought that's what this one was, but you're right.
Yeah, like the fucking thing about I only really have one comment about biting shark. Well, actually two. One is that gotta love the exact same shark pose done in every Toku ever making a return. Every Toku with a shark hero, same pose. Prove me wrong. But also, I like how they very explicitly say it swims through concrete because
Bites through concrete.
bites through concrete. But either way, it seems to have the ability to be functional on land, which is a lot like another build in the first episode of Geo, except the special effect for it doesn't look like shit, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that swims through concrete is like Beast's dolphin ring when Wizard uses it.
Which was
Oh
really
yeah, I
cool.
forgot about that.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got two new forms. Everybody, I guess, give your thoughts on them.
Okay, so Rushing Cheetah is a great introduction to Kamen Rider Valkyrie. She's gonna be the one that lives. Like, this is a new era for female riders. She does a great job with her introduction fight.
Hey, don't jinx it, man. It's been like
Hey.
one episode.
Okay,
She
but
could die in the next one.
especially when she finishes off all the grunts, and Fuwa is standing there, like baffled, and she's just like staring him in the eye all the time. And I was thinking in my head, like, and that's how it's done. But then she undoes her henshin and actually tells him, like, and that's how you fight.
Yeah, she's
God.
totally gone from being pushed over technical support to I'm the boss, I say what goes, and this is how you do it.
And then Fu has the audacity to be like, tell me there's more than one sooner. Like, no! Like, it's not relevant to you, first of all. Second of all, you couldn't even be trusted with the one you knew about.
It builds up to Fua, not Fua, god damn it. Wait.
Yua?
Okay, so what's Valkyrie's civilian name? I'm really
Yua.
bad with
Yua
names.
Yaiba.
Yua, okay. Well, when it took a long time for them to build up to her, even in her debut transformation episode, and I think that's because they knew that what they had for us was good, and it's what a lot of people have asked for, because they played us perfectly. They made us be like, they made us wait for it, get excited for it, and then they kick it off with a really good starting fight, and then, like you said, they're literally like, and that's how it's done in the actual script. So they knew they had some good shit. And yeah, I noticed that she fights a lot like Motoko. Actually, she does the Motoko run when she shoots her gun, and I think that's really cool. She's very acrobatic. She uses a lot of tactical stuff, but she also uses like crazy sci-fi science bullshit, like creating a black hole, because it's fucking Kamen Rider. It's fucking awesome.
I love that her finisher, like, can take on a group at once when she circles them.
Yeah, she's so fucking fast too. Like, her kit is really good.
Also, they just build her up really nicely because when you first meet her, you think she's just little technical support, nerdy little girl who needs to be saved all the time, and she's getting pushed around by Fuwa. And then in this episode, you really see her come out as the boss. You've seen in the previous episode that she's in on a secret with Ames, and now she's just taking charge and taking over. And I gotta say, I really love the Kamen Rider suits in this series. They are so well done. The graphics are great. There's no glitches. Whoever's taking care of the details in this is really paying attention, and they're building
That's
up
so
the characters
slick.
so good that you're actually pulled into these characters. Like, I want to see where she's going to go. If she's going to end up being evil, if she's going to die, or if she's going to be the one that actually lives.
Yeah, that's what I mean by the good build up. I honestly couldn't have put it better myself.
Like, I love to go on to the detail of the suit. I like the fact that you can tell that they were from the same device. Like hers and Fua's suits look very, very similar in the construction of them.
Yeah, they're in the preview when they were fighting next to each other, they looked so cool, like those blue and orange next to each other, and them both having like the just kind of most of their colors mainly on one half of them, just makes them look very uniform and yet contrasting. It's just so nice.
It's like, and then his Aruto's shark form. The one thing I really, really love about that is the fact that the grasshopper doesn't go away. It just changes position.
I was gonna bring that up too. It's his base form still matters because it stays there, and the new form layers on top of it.
I never thought about that whole layering thing and how that's actually a benefit. I just thought how I don't get very excited about Aruto's form changes because they don't change a lot. But what I do like, visually at least, is how his face kind of moves to different parts of his suit. Like I saw a preview of one form where his face is just on his arms, and I uses them as like blades.
Like it's done really, really well, and this isn't the first time we've seen forms with things added to it. But I gotta say, it looks a lot better than just wrapping a bike around yourself.
Yeah, just take the bike, smash it over head and shoulders, done.
Shakuragi
I mean,
Sports was underwhelming.
um, it's okay in specials.
It's
Or
okay on
movies.
Genom.
Yeah, that's true. It's okay on Genom.
Oh, it looks to me like it was kind of designed to be on Xaid because it's the same color scheme as him. I think it actually looks really slick on Xaid. What I have a problem with mostly is that it doesn't. It makes the face look nice and the kit is good, but it doesn't change enough. Like it doesn't wrap around his body really. It just kind of like adjusts to like make room for his head and then goes over his shoulders, and that's kind of lazy to me.
I mean, look, we can all admit X8's add-on forms, like the early ones, are kind of all trash.
Don't talk shit about Gekitotsu robots.
Okay, fine. Gekitotsu Robots is like the one. Okay, that's like a fucking. Wait, is that a level 3? Yeah, it's a level
Yeah.
3, right? Like, the level 3s are like the only good ones.
Wait, what do you mean by add-on?
Because,
Forms,
like,
then? 'Cause
like
that's
all
level
the
3s
power ups
are.
besides the level 3 suck ass. Unless they're
Oh,
like
do you mean the
full
must and the
chain.
medals?
The medals aren't that good either. But, like, the
Well-
level 3s are okay. Um. But
Wait,
like,
so-
if we're gonna go with like armor that like adds on to a rider, like I think the Gaim suits are probably the nicest for doing this gimmick.
Juju
Oh,
Burger should
yeah.
have been Xaid's level 3 over Gekitotsu Robots.
Yeah, I know, but then he wouldn't have a tragic backstory.
Again, Juju Burger is kind of underrated. I wish they used it a bit more.
I still can't believe they actually made a suit and used it once.
I thought they used it twice.
They used it
That suit was
once.
too good for. Yeah, once. That suit was too good for this world. Um. That being said, Decade thoughts on these two forms?
So yeah, Valkyrie, just Izu in general. Right off the bat, at this episode, you could tell that it was gonna be different. It was gonna be her episode. She just like walks into the sushi restaurant, and yeah, agrees with Arto for once. So yeah, she was definitely a lot more interesting this episode, and pretty badass when she finally henshins, and it's a fun one. Although I kind of wish that the Ames riders had their animals jumping around too. That would be kind of fun. But
Same.
they get to punch a bullet, so that's cool too.
Bullet!
And, yeah, just the fighting in general was really fun. And Biting Shark has pretty nice colors, even though it's a little simple.
Yeah, really, really good shade of blue.
And the finisher is pretty sweet too, even though it's not actually biting.
Right?
Yeah, honestly. Okay, this is weird because I disagree with everything Decade said about Biting Shark. So that's totally random. Yeah, I hate the fucking color scheme. Um, on that damn thing. Like that form is so underwhelming. It's got like the arm things like the Amazon's riders, and I'm like, okay, just do a fucking slash with the arms like Fang Joker or Gills or like the Amazon riders, but never happens. And then his finisher is like the arm slash. I'm like, why? Why is it the Mantis finisher? And then the color scheme, I'm like, oh, I am not digging this. This like light blue and light yellow or whatever.
Neon green.
So yeah, like yeah, I don't
know,
care.
something like that.
Yeah, I fucking hate it. Honestly, like it's fine that you guys like it, but like personally, I'm not a fan. That being said, the Ames writers are better. Okay, that's not true. Fua's fucking wolf thing is fucking lame. Um, the wolf bullet finisher is like the coolest thing he has. Everything else is trash. Like it's not bad, but I don't like it. um, uh,
God damn, hot
Yua's
takes up in this podcast.
yeah.
That's Zero's thing.
That's yeah, it is.
True.
And then Yua's Yua, everything is fucking amazing. Like that suit's great. Her henshin's fucking great. The way she fights is amazing. Her finisher is awesome. Like her suit's good. Um, she doesn't have to shoot her dumbass bullet to go all the way around and then come back and then henshin. It's like boom, fired, henshin, done.
I can't wait
So
for
efficient.
Vulcan's big, stupid gorilla arms next
I know
episode.
it's coming back. I'm like, God damn it! We didn't get enough of this in Sentai.
Yeah, like I'm so stoked on that. Like this has been a great year for muscles in Toku. All right, this has been a great year for muscles in general. We got that Muscle Girl anime. We got Vulcan with another big stupid arms form. Like we got Taro and his magnificent
super-
ass that could deflect lasers. Or not Taro. That's the '70s one. Fucking whatever the new Ultraman is called. Sorry, I forgot. Taiga? Is it called Taiga?
Seriously? No. Okay,
No,
that's
it's
way
a
too close to
combination
Tiga.
It's a combination of 3 Ultras names, is why it's called Taiga, if I recall correctly. But I have a hard time coming to terms with it being called Taiga because I just think of Kamen Rider Snipe.
Yeah, so there's that, but I'm like, okay, yeah. Then the other problem is there's so many goddamn not writer, but like tokusatsu heroes named Taiga, right?
Yeah.
So there's Kamen Rider Snipe. There's Kamen Rider Ray from Kiva.
There's Kamen Rider Tiger.
Yeah, there's Kamen Rider Tiger. There's
God.
there's fucking original, not original, but like the Garo from season 1 and 2's dad. Right? So it's like, what the hell, man? We've got like too many Tiger, and it's way too close to Kamen Rider Tiga. So I'm like, what the fuck, Bandai? Also, Bandai, is your solution to like, oh, we have run out of ideas. What shall we do? Fuse 2 characters together. We've all done 2 characters. All right, fuse 3 characters together. God damn it, Bandai! Are we all Megazords now? Are all your heroes Megazords?
Yes.
Right? Like we did the thing with the you have to fuse 2 people. Okay, Double did that, and then fucking goddamn Akiba Red did that in season 2, and then we fucking had like trio fuse. Oh no, and then freaking like Gokaiser had that fucking red and green form, and then now there's like trial.
Leave my
3
gatais
fusions.
alone. I love my gatais.
Okay, here's the thing. If you're gonna go that stupid, go fucking fully stupid and just straight up do a Megazord. Right? Like, it's literally just the whole Sentai team tensions into one hero. It's not a Megazord, it's just like human size.
Someday,
Just for the
I think. Okay, prediction for the Reiwa era: every Kamen Rider is going to have a mecha. They're all gonna have a maximum mighty.
Fuck you, Bandai, and your shit technique of trying to sell shitty Megazord toys. I'm so sick of that. Like, Zio was such a bad take on it, and then Mighty from X8 was kind of trash too. But like, we're putting that into this show too.
I could deal without the Mazines, but I love Mighty, or I love Maximum Mighty.
So, Lube Ranger
Anyway,
versus Power
right.
Ranger also had a power-up where the Power Rangers just fuse into one tricolored character.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And then
So there's a
freaking,
narrative reason for that.
Yeah, I know.
The reason
But then
for
they put
that
it into
is that they want
Ultraman.
the reason for that is when they need to have an excuse to get all of the characters in the same place at the end of a fight.
Yeah, yeah. But the problem is we had Q Ranger. There's like 11 Rangers on that fucking team.
Yeah, the
There's
show,
12.
the Q
There's
Ranger was
12
probably a
murder
really
You're-
hard to film show, to be honest. Like, I can't believe they pulled off some of the shit that they even did. That's why they would always have characters go off in teams of 3, because it's so fucking hard to get, like, that many, like, decent suit actors to fucking all do at least one cool thing per fight.
You know what the saddest part about that is? They worked so closely with like Saban and like structuring it so it'll be so much easier in the West. And then what?
And then
there's the
Saban,
Daptico bunch.
Saban's movie fucking bombed, so they had no choice but to sell.
Yeah, and to skip over
'cause
that
they
season.
fucking, yeah, you're right.
But
It's
you
the
know
fucking
what?
Company change, isn't it?
What?
Now Hasbro can do whatever they fuck they want.
Dude,
until they
Hasbro?
can't.
They're doing okay, supposedly.
They're doing a great job. Power Rangers hasn't been this good in a while.
Anyway, as for Yua, like her character is pretty solid. Again, very similar to certain character in Kabuto. It's nice to see her like be more assertive because like she's in command, right? Like Fua's an asshole who just goes like all guns a blazing all the time. And I love how like at the end of the fight she just straight up says like that's how it's done. I'm like, yeah, she should have also said read the fucking manual.
Probably.
Read the man page.
Oh man. No. We can't have that. Clearly the villains are using Linux.
Yeah, they totally fucking. I fucking swear, Zero-One runs on fucking Linux because, like, in the first episode, Izu's just like, "Here's the man page."
Okay.
That's just a translation thing. But maybe.
Well, no, I don't. She didn't literally say, "Here's the man page."
No. I know.
But,
That's a good point.
but
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Aruto gives the sushi chef a new gear that has the same appearance as the one that was destroyed, but it is a blank model. However, the chef is fine with this because now he gets to teach it properly from scratch. He has thrown away his bias completely. Aruto accidentally makes a pun that Izu explains and then says his catchphrase for him.
That was fucking adorable.
So last week I was sure that like the very last sentence in the very last episode would be like Aruto saying, "Please don't explain the joke." But now that Izu is like learning and such, I'm not so sure anymore. But I think it's still possible. The last thing we're gonna hear in this show is, "Please don't explain the joke."
Yeah, it would be a good way to have bookends and show that even though Izu and other Humagirs have come a long way in learning like human emotions, learning to be more human, like that there's still always going to be the marching on of technology.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, conversely, it could be in the Christmas episode. So, you know, we have that to fear because nothing good ever happens on Christmas in Kamen Rider. Since fucking Kabuto, you ruined Christmas.
What? I can't remember. What happened in Zio for Christmas special?
They didn't really have one, did they?
No, I don't think they really had one.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I think the closest thing is like right before the fucking like. I mean, like they do kind of have a more celebration thing, but I think that's after the whole like tournament.
I'm never trusting the X-Aid writer with Christmas again.
Hey, guess what?
Especially with Kabuto themes.
This is the X-Aid writer.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, fucking It's another Christmas where kids will open up the murder weapon that killed their favorite character on that morning.
I mean, hopefully they don't make a goddamn shirt about it.
Look, back when last time they made a goddamn shirt about it, I was mad because I didn't know how to order from Premium Bandai. Now I'm twice the weeb I used to be, and I'm gonna get that damn shirt, no matter who dies.
Oh, okay.
Fuck.
So the Christmas episode of Zio was when Zio like sees what the Omazio future is like for the first time, and like throws away his belt for a day before taking it back.
Okay, so you
Lame.
said Zio. I was thinking of fucking Build.
Oh.
Yeah, my bad.
Let me check what the build one had, because I don't think it had anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think like the only Build thing is like after the tournament happens. But they don't have a Christmas episode. I mean, makes sense. They're not on the same fucking Earth. Sort of. Whatever.
On this earth, there's no Jesus and no God.
More like there's no
Well-
fucking Coca-Cola company, but whatever.
Hey yo, yeah, so we got whoever's making the full bottles. And I know who makes the
Oh,
full
God.
bottles, but I just don't want to fucking explain that entire plot to make a joke.
Oh well.
Yeah, but go ahead.
To be fair, God hasn't existed in the show since he got pissed off that he got punched by.
Oh,
He said he
Agito?
got punched in the face. Yeah, by Agito.
No, he got kicked in the face. But
No, he got punched. He got punched in the face straight up by Soichi. Like. No
Oh,
hit-
yeah,
no
yeah,
hit, no
yeah,
negative,
yeah.
punched him straight in the face.
yeah, you're right. It does happen. Okay.
That's the point. That's the point where God went. You know what? Fuck this.
Fuck this. Yeah, we're just gonna apocalypse right now. And then Agito kicked his ass so hard it destroyed his physical form. Yeah, Agito, fucking awesome ending. Right.
You build the Christmas episode was like Sento just learned that he was the demon scientist, and he's like trying to like get over his guilt, and Grease makes like a small appearance.
Yeah. So, oh, that's great because like, hey, who's gonna die in this episode? It's like, oh, it's you. You already died.
You know, that's kind of a fucking funny way to look at it.
All right. So
Anyway, any future thoughts? I guess like we've seen like 3 episodes. They've set up some pretty interesting plot stuff. Any character like what are your predictions for characters or plots or whatever?
I'm gonna stay out of this one because I've probably talked about my predictions for like the entire podcast.
Like prediction wise, like I don't have really any beyond like the obvious setups that we have. We know Ames is up to some shady shit. And I'm basing them being the more shady of the two between Ames and Hedon, given the fact that the whole thing that they're trying to use is the same fucking satellite.
You know, what if actually, what if Mitsubo Jinrai winds up going with like a whole like thing like they did with Parad fighting for the reason why they're trying to go against humans is because they're tired of Humagears being subjugated.
Well, I mean, I don't think that'll happen given the whole reason that they seem to be doing this is because of whatever the fuck happened. And he didn't covering it up. So they're kind of running along the same lines as what Fu is doing.
Yeah, what's cool about Metsubo Jinrai is that even though they are a gang of psychopathic murderers, they do expose the hypocrisy of the establishment.
So here's my Here's one prediction I'm gonna lay down. Fua is like the Sasuke, right? And Ames
Right.
will turn out to be corrupted or something, and he'll abandon them uh, to like find a different way to go about achieving his goal because he'll disagree with their methods, while Yua will stay with them and be like the can be the official Ames representative rider.
Oh, that's interesting. So like I didn't call that, but like it makes sense because it feels like the show like Zero-One and what the hell is Fua's fucking writer name?
Vulcan.
Vulcan, yeah, are like straight up, writer 1 and 2, and their thing is like, oh, this bad shit happened, therefore I have this philosophy. But like they both kind of have philosophies, but they both also don't know exactly what happened in the past, which means they're both wrong, and they're gonna have to team up to learn the real truth, which means, of course, they're gonna be on the same side soon enough.
I never
Um,
get sick of that trope. I love that. I can't wait for it.
And we got to remember that Fu is going to enjoy the fact that, well, once all said and done, is going to enjoy the fact that 01 is Aruto, because Aruto is funny.
oh god,
Even though he won't admit
You're
it
right.
yet.
Dude, I love that moment where it's like we're doing the joke thing. Like that's the thing. The jokes are okay. They're stupid. Well, they're not stupid humor, but they're like very specifically punny humor. But it's like it doesn't work if it's not Japanese, so it's like it's not as funny.
It's considered
Um,
cheesy humor. Like it's considered
Yeah.
like it's so it's so unfunny that it's funny.
Right. And I really like how they're using that, where it's like one, it like diffuses tension a little bit, but it also hides like how like on the ball Arto can be, because like guess what? They were just attacked by the villains. They have a robot. It records shit. Let's use that to our advantage. Right?
Yeah, it's
like
used a lot more
not in-
purposefully than the slapstick in X-Aid. It's more balanced.
Yeah. And then I like how again it like the comedy thing, like, oh, nobody really likes it except the one guy who kind of hates you. So like, there. I mean, it's very basic, but it's like, hey, the fucking fundamentals for a reason, right?
Yeah, it works. It works because it works.
Right. As for the future, like, I feel like what's gonna. Oh man, it's weird because it depends on how Kabuto or how X8 they want to go. Right.
This was
Because,
written
like,
by
if
the
they go-
X-Aid rider.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, like, he doesn't want to just do X8 all over again, right? But the thing is, like, as you said, if they go Kabuto, they go your way. If they go X8, it's like everybody becomes on the same team. And they fight whatever really caused that explosion that many years ago. Or, I mean, whatever. It's gonna be interesting because it depends on who the fuck is the leader of Ames. Because, like, okay, Fua basically looks like Shotaro. I'm like half hoping with this the leader of Ames, who basically feels like he's some kind of L type character. I'm like, goddamn, just make him look like Philip at this point, just to fuck with us.
Cool. Like, or make him, or even make him, like, hell, make him like Skull. Make him like, Soichi or Sokichi. I can't remember which, if it was Soichi or Sokichi. But yeah, make him like Skull.
That'd be good too. I mean, hell, you can go full Kabuto and just make him look like Goro-chan. He's shown up enough in Rider.
Fucking like I actually think that like a kind of Philip looking character would make a good villain. Like I recently appeared in somebody else's little tokusatsu miniseries as a character who I basically modeled after well what if Philip was a bad guy, and I made like this goth Philip kind of outfit. That was and kind of thought like okay, the script I was given didn't really allow me to work with it much, but I would have loved to have given him kind of like a personality like Jin's, but a look like Philip's. And I'm hoping. I mean, it's the same character I've played in my Mirror World arcs and stuff, but like I want to use this show to like do a different take on them.
Nice. I mean, I honestly feel like whoever the leader of Ames is, like it'd be too easy to make him just the villain because like that's like super fucking predictable. And one goddamn thing. All right, so there's two problems. One is like the X8 writer is really good at plot twists, but the other thing is he's also really fucking good at foreshadowing. So I don't know which character this is. So like he could be an anti-hero, but he could also just be the villain, like the real villain, like Masamune, which I really hope he's not.
Yeah, with how Masamune like showed up so early, you're right. It does depend on who this guy is because if he turns out to be somebody who Valkyrie is able to actually stay on the same side of, but who Vulcan decides to go against, then they'll have like a team dynamic. It'll be like Vulcan and Zero-One versus like Valkyrie and like somebody else.
I want Ames to be its own like separate party the entire way. Where you have like
Oh,
so
so
you've
you
got
want
Hidden
three?
Intelligence, Ames, and Metsubo Jinrai.net, and you have those three separate factions that are all fighting each other.
Okay. I mean, so yeah, I'm just thinking like the G3 unit from Agito. That would be interesting. Especially considering we finally fucking got the intro, and the intro is revealing some stuff.
Yeah, so can we talk about the intro? Do we have time for that? Because I am.
We have time for it.
I want to see your analysis of that because I was going to analyze it frame by frame. The first time I saw it, I'm just like, cool. And like, it all went over my head, but I'm like, it looks like there's some stuff here to analyze, and I just got to do it.
All right. So, me and you could probably just sit here and do that shit. But let's just get everybody can give their final thoughts.
Yeah,
and then we can go off.
We'll analyze the intro next week. But for now, like,
Well, I meant we could do it at the end, so whoever wants to stay can stay. Whoever wants to leave can leave.
Either way works for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd rather save it for next week because this podcast is starting to hit 2 hours, so I'd rather wrap it up tonight.
Okay. Sure.
So final thoughts. Another solid episode overall. But we've already talked a bit about theories for the future, and I am excited to see Valkyrie's Hornet form when she gets that.
Yeah, this was a pretty fun one. I definitely would agree that the opening raises a lot of questions and theories. Metsubo Jinrai is definitely gonna look more interesting than they did in the first two episodes. But yeah, look forward to next week.
Who's still with us?
It's your turn to say your final thoughts, then Pixie, then Vashi, then Zero.
Oh, okay. There's an order to this. Got it. See, this is why I need you. So I. Well, other reasons too. Obviously, you're like the narrator of this whole podcast. But anyways, my final thoughts are that I overall feel like this episode was Valkyrie's time to shine, and I think that it's going to introduce a formula of basically switching between the different characters to introduce more and more things about them, and kind of going in like a rotation for the first half. And I'm really excited to see what Valkyrie does next. I'm excited to see what everyone does next, but just considering that I think Valkyrie had the strongest start of any character in this, that I'm especially excited for her. I mean, like, I know that some people would say I shouldn't get my hopes up for a female writer, but honestly, I feel like the way that they're presenting it shows that they are actually trying a lot harder this time, and I'm really excited for that. That she really seems like the character with the strongest characterization so far. So yeah, I'm just hella into it.
Pixie?
Um, yeah, this was another great episode. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this, both in the intro and in the episode itself. Definitely with Izu making the joke this time instead of Aruto. I think in the opening you see her cry. I think she's definitely going to become a stronger character in this, and she may end up being one that gets tainted because she does start becoming more human esque. So I think they're definitely going to pull that with her. She may be the one that dies in this series instead of the female common rider. That or you got three organizations that are all very strong in this, and you're not sure what's going on with any of them. So I think there's definitely something shady going on with Ames. They've definitely built up two common writers that neither one, only one of them knew the other one was there. And then you have Aruto being 0-1 just kind of thrown in there. I could see where Fugua and Aruto eventually team up, maybe begrudgingly against the terrorists, but I think there's a lot more that needs to come out first to find out how the terrorist group even got started and what does that have to do with Ames.
Like, I'm very okay with it leading up to like a Lupat esque team up, that out of necessity thing. Um, it's very rare that one of these shows grips me and draws me in as quickly as this one did. Only a small handful have, and that shows excellent execution on the part of the writers, the actors, the directors, the people filming it. Because damn, the cinematography in this show is beautiful, and so are the special effects. Like, I love the fact that they're still continuing the what Romanji on the screen.
It's
No.
no, it's katakana. I think they use katakana.
Well, it depends. They switch. Whatever. It's fine. But basically, you're talking about when they call out the moves, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I love the fact that they're still doing that for each and every one of them. It's like, because they could have easily skipped over one or the other today, or with this episode,
Nope.
and just like focused on one, but they didn't do that.
Right?
I'm waiting for like all the writers together team up kick, and it
Oh
my gosh.
and it just
It's
goes
just
through all of them.
it just destroys the wall.
It just destroys my
Oh, man.
fucking brain. Is what that's gonna fucking do?
Oh, dude. So this is that shot from Build where it's like, oh, the words are breaking down the wall, so it's literally their final attack being called out. Will just blow this shit up. Anyway, uh, yeah, very, very good point. Vashi, was there any more?
That's all I had.
Okay. Um, I agree. Pretty strong episode. Valkyrie's freaking great. Yua's great. Fua's a dumbass. Um, Arto. Arto has got like a very much like an emu thing going on. So like, there's way more to this kid than meets the eye. So like, I want to see where he goes. My only problem is like, right, X8 writer, right? So he's really good at characterization, right? And even X8, like the first couple episodes, like writer after writer after writer, each new episode. Um, but they were really strong. But the problem is, like after that, it kind of became a little formulaic, and then the last arc was trash. Um, I don't think the last arc or the middle or whatever is gonna be as bad as X8 because this has got way this has got like multiple layers of mystery going on where it's like, all right, you can solve what Jinrai is doing, or but then you still got the aims thing up, so at least two different mysteries right now, right? So yeah, it's got some staying power. Hopefully it doesn't become formulaic because this show's kind of going at an insane pace where it's like, I'm like, okay, fine, why do we need them? Like the villains make the monsters of the week which look like riders, which is fucking great because it's a throwback to like the original Kamen Rider concept of like the Kamen Rider is just one of the monsters who fights on the side of good.
Yeah, it feels like they're doing that a lot more strongly than they have in a while.
Or pretty much ever, because because the monsters have fucking rider belts, which is great because honestly, like if I had to pick one damn belt in this show, I'd pick the monster belt because it's so
Really?
simple and functional.
Yeah, it looks like a V buckle, but like more sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah, very Ryuki. But my biggest problem is like, yeah, like will it have staying power? I mean, with the plot threads, technically it should have it. Um, I just hope they don't, like it's going so fast. I hope they don't burn it out. Plus, because it's going so fast, we have to contrive like, oh, the monsters make more monsters because we have three fucking writers already. I'm like, and then like Aruto just shows up and like kills them all pretty much. Or does he? Like, how is he saving them? It like normally when it's like the like O's thing or whatever, it's like, oh, beat the monster and like they just revert back to being human. I'm like, that's one thing, but like your
He's
guys' rider kicks don't fix anything.
no, he's not saving them. He's destroying them. They're infected and need to be put down.
Yeah, he just re-uploads like a copy that's like just a fresh installation of whatever other operating system basically is onto an identical model.
Yeah, that's
Like,
not great.
He just took
But-
the design for that one and said, "Make it again."
Which is fucked up, actually. Like, why the fuck are all the Humagear deaths in this show so sad, by the way?
Right?
Draw
Because
you in and keep you watching.
because the line between man and machine is blurred.
I mean, it's an interesting idea, but gosh, it's so sad. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, at least it's better than freaking the Roy Mutes. Sorry, go ahead. Okay,
Which definitely makes it seem like Ames and the terrorists have a lot more to do with each other than what we know so far. Because they both have belts and they're both very interested in heat and intelligence.
yeah, I mean, especially considering like we're leaving hidden intelligence off the hook, but like realistically, honestly, they're probably more shady than anybody because Fies, pretty much you can pretty much make them the final villains if you really wanted to. Because again, guy who wrote X8, how many CEOs did like Get 'em Corp have, right? Like at least 3, right? So we saw one guy die, right? 2 people in the running now, right? There's no like the vice president can just be replaced by like an actual another dude who knows what the fuck is going on and could be way more shady. So like literally all 3 of the groups in the show can be the villains.
You know what's weird that fucking Toei does a lot? It'll like make narratives like X8 and Gaim and be like, hey, evil companies are bad, but also an evil company makes their toys.
I mean, this fucking Toei we're talking about, it's not like they're fucking clean at all.
Right.
Right. I mean, like, look how fucking and and Bandai is Bandai, which is like corruption central because like
Exactly.
like
Like that's
Ultra
that's why I
Ultra.
made Bandai the villains of my fucking series.
Yeah, I mean, like Ultraman fucking turned into a goddamn writer show at this point because Bandai owns like almost like majority share, right? What do they own? Like 49% or something insane like that?
What I can't fucking besides that, what I can't get over with Bandai is the way that they run their games division. It's run in the most exploitative manner possible.
Okay, so like the games one is a whole different section because it's Namco Bandai, right? Which means Namco runs the game section. And Namco and Bandai both are not the top companies. They're a subsidiary of like an even larger company because Zaibatsu. Because Japanese corporations are fucking weird like that. So,
I mean, that's
yeah.
almost worse. It's like
Yeah,
they're all
it's
in on it.
insane.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Sorry we missed last week, but we will make it up to you. And we'll be back on Tuesday for more Ryu Soldier. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
Yep, thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me, everybody. Thank you, all of our listeners, to the podcast, and a touch of case for purpose of play.
Pixie?
Bye, everybody.
There she is.
Thank you all for listening. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll catch you next time. Sorry for all the rambling.
Same.